Today we're talking about budgeting. Now, over the years, I have been working on strategies that will work when it comes to making my budget for the month. Now, this does not work for everybody, and this is just something I'm putting out there so that you understand that this information you can use to make you unique to your situation, because there are people that earn more and there are people that earn less. So you just want to make it work for you. One of the things that have to do with budgeting is that you want to make the most out of your money. And so I put together these pointers that we can use to direct ourselves when it comes to managing our expenses at the end of the month. You can do this on payday. You can also do this before payday. So you are prepared for the month. You want to find an easy system that you can relate to. So this is how I break it down. So there are 3 points: fundamentals, fun, and future. And this is because we always want to make sure that in as much as we are working and we want to save and we want to make the most out of paying our bills and everything else, we have to make sure that we're also taking care of ourselves, which is that you are the one working for the money. You should actually take yourself into consideration to reward yourself for working throughout the month. Now, under fundamentals, I would put the most essential bills that you have for the month. So rent, light, water, channels, any other thing that you consider that might work for you, transportation, food stuff, the bills that are most important, that if you have them in the house and you do not have any money on you, you can still sleep and wake up and be relaxed. So those are your fundamentals. Now, when it comes to the fun stuff, that is where we are going to put our beauty maintenance for the month. We are going to put any other activity that we have planned for the month that we want to go out. Maybe you want to go to a restaurant with your friends, you add it to the fun stuff. So you have like a list and know more or less how many times in a month you would go out, because that's actually very important. I know that there are times that you cannot control the times that you go out because something might come up unexpectedly, but you should actually have a priority, telling yourself that, okay, this month I'm just going to be going out twice. Should in case you should add 1/3 time, is because it's important. If it's not important, you can do without it. Now, for future, this is where we have our savings and our investments. I will always recommend this, right? When you receive your income at the end of the month, first take out the percentage that you be using for your savings and your investments or your emergency fund. Any amount of money that you can put into your savings, your emergency fund, or your investments, just leave it behind. And then do your budget with the amount that will be left after taking that money from your income. I hope that's clear. The reason I do that is because if you still look at the big amount that you have at the end of the month, you tend to spend more because you think you have more. And so taking the amount for savings or investments or emergency fund before you start calculating your expenses will help you to focus on this amount that you are now looking at to work throughout the month, and you will make it work. You will actually realize that there is a way to make it work based on how you will do the adjustment. So let me show you something. Now, if we are going to be breaking down budgeting in a month, this is what you want to consider, right? After taking care of your fundamentals, your fun, and your future, you want to consider looking at your month as a whole, right? And this is where I start writing down my expenses before the end of the month, because I have an idea of what I would be spending money on in the month before the end of the month. I always say that you have to be prepared before the end of the month so that when the money gets into your hands, you know exactly where you are putting the money. Because if you wait if you wait until you receive the money, when you start making the calculations, it is easy for you to deviate from the main thing that you actually have to do, because at the time you already have the money. So it is easy for you to say that, okay, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to rather do this next month. I will try and manage to do that. But if you have already prepared what you are supposed to be spending money on, you already know that when this money comes, you are taking this out for savings or investments or emergency fund, and you are using this amount for your expenses, you would learn how to allocate it in a way that it works for the month. Okay, now first things first, right? When it comes to the amount that you have taken out of your income to ensure that you are putting onto savings or to emergency fund or to investment, this is what I advise. Have a separate account for your savings. Why? The reason is you want to make sure that every saving that you are doing or you are taking up is for a specific purpose, right? If you have an account where you say you are saving for, let's say for instance, a car, you are able to see how much money you have saved, you have been able to save for the car that you want to buy. So you already know the car you are going to buy. You already know the price of the car you are going to buy. You know that should in case it will take you 6 months to 1 year to save for that particular item, which is a car, you would know that, okay, by that time I should be able to have this amount because the price might have gone higher. So you already know what you're saving towards, and that is just there, right? So we are getting back into our income and expenses on a monthly basis, and let's work on that now. Here we have an example of a planner where we can put our expenses, income, savings, and then summarize all of our expenditure. So we are starting in by writing the month for which we are doing the budget for, and then the year, obviously. So now we're going to be writing all of our expenses based on how much we are going to be spending. So I'm going to be writing all these expenses off camera and be back in a moment. After writing all of our expenses, our income, and our savings, we are going to put together the total, which is down there. The total that I have written here as an example is 3,600 cedis. And this is to have into consideration that our income was 4,000 cedis. The amount that we are using to do the expense is 3,600 cedis because we have taken 400 cedis out of the 4,000 to use as our deposit for our savings account. And so taking into consideration that last month we had 2,400 in our savings account, this month we are adding another 400, which makes it a total of 2,800 Ghana cedis in our savings account, right? So now to summarize, 4,000 cedis of income, 400 that we took out of the 4,000 to put in our savings account, and then we spent 3,600. If we had any amount left, we'll put it down there instead of putting total, and then you write a note of things you want to do differently. And when you put your income against your expenses, you have to make sure that you have some amount left with you to be able to use should in case anything happens. Okay, now let's take something into consideration, some reflections, right? You have heard about budgeting with the 50-30-20 rule. I know that is there. I wouldn't say it doesn't work, but I would say that it depends on how you can apply to your individual situation. This rule was established in 2005, and it was established in a different economic landscape altogether. In these times where we are, we need to be making adjustments that will work based on our personal habits that we have with money. Now, another thing that we have to consider is this. You always have to ask yourself, where do you want to be at the end of the year? First of all, take some time to think about what did you do last year with your money? Did you manage to get an asset that you really wanted to get and you knew that it was important getting it? Did you manage to get it? How much did you think you saved that was able to help you to start the beginning of this year? We are still in February, you see. So we have to make sure that we are taking time to think about these things, to reflect on our expenditure, to reflect on our financial habits, to ensure also that we are getting to where we want to get to at the end of the year. Because you should have financial goals at the end of the year, and nobody's going to make it work. You will make it work. So you have to be able to discipline yourself enough that you will be able to say no to this, no to that, because you always need to put that in there. I know that sometimes your money might not be enough to cover for everything you want to do because of some of the things that come up on your specific situation, right? In your specific situation. So you always want to make sure that you know how to prioritize. Prioritizing is really, really important in this situation, and you need to be able to tell yourself how to say no, when to say yes, and how to go ahead with certain things. Before you go on with an expense, ask yourself, is this really important? Can I do without this? And I tell you this, I'm not saying to you to be stingy with yourself, but I'm just saying that try and practice budgeting for the next 3 months. And like I said, do not forget, when you receive your money, make sure that you are calculating your expenses after you have taken out an amount for saving, an amount for you're putting away for investment, or an amount that you have put away for your emergency fund. The amount that you are going to have left after taking those out is what you are going to be getting used to as your expenditure for the month. When you get used to this in the next 3 months, trust me, your spending habits are going to be changing, because you are going to learn how to manage your money here and there and to put it together in a way that works for you. I really hope that this video was helpful for you, especially if you wanted to learn about budgeting. I'm sure that there is more that we can cover, but at least this is for beginners. You can use this for the first 3 months. Let's see how it works. Let me know in the comments if it's helpful as well. If you need more information, let me know in the comments. I'm definitely going to be addressing them. Of course, you know I'm listening to you, and I am interested to know whether these tips are working or not. So don't forget to share this video with somebody that needs to learn about budgeting. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you are the first person that sees when the videos are loaded. And please like this video.